We'll start the show in just a minute, but first, a word from our premier brand sponsor, Wheelhouse. If you want to increase your revenue and profitability, you have to have the right tools and data. And Wheelhouse has everything you need to run your short term rental business more effectively. Wheelhouse is the simplest and most powerful way to unlock your portfolio's revenue and profits. This game changing revenue management platform puts the industry's most powerful data right at your fingertips, allowing you to run your business exactly as you want to while saving you massive amounts of time. So you can have the right price every night and increase your revenue by an average of 39%. Wheelhouse is offering listeners of this podcast 50% off your first 2 months. Just go to usewheelhouse.com and enter promo code AlexAnnie at checkout, or tell them that you heard about this offer from the Alex and Annie podcast. Welcome to Alex and Annie, the Real Women of Vacation Rentals. I'm Alex.
And I'm Annie.
And we are joined today by Lauren Madewell, who is the Chief Operating Officer for Auntie Belham's Cabin Rentals and a great friend of ours, and just so excited to have you here, Lauren. So welcome.
I'm so excited to be here, and happy Halloween, y'all.
Yeah, happy Halloween. We're not sure if that's really you behind your getup.
Yeah,
if you're not watching or if you're just listening, you got to tune into our YouTube channel to see. Now, who are you? I still don't understand.
I am Orville Peck.
Okay.
Who is like a country singer, and he always wears this mask. Like if you tried to Google Orville Peck, you will not find him just face out. He's always wearing this mask, different color fringe and stuff. And like I put the braids on just so I could drink, but like normally he has it like down.
Oh,
covering
wow.
his whole, he's a spectacle. I love it.
So you actually braided it.
Yeah, it would cover the whole thing, but I braided it off to the side. I learned early in the night at my Halloween party that it was going to be hard to drink my cocktails with the fringe.
Yeah. So it's like that singer Sierra that always wears those like bangs that hang so you can't see. So nobody knows what she looks like.
Sia, yeah.
Yeah, Sia, that's what it is. I'm sorry.
Sia.
I'm so not hip. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for joining us. For those of the people that don't know you, which I dare expect there's very few people that don't know you at this point. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okie dokie. And I'm gonna like actively take off this.
Yeah. Let's see the beautiful face.
It's a script show.
Real face.
There you go.
Okay, so
there she is.
I am the Chief Operating Officer of my family's business over in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. Our office is in Pigeon Forge. Our cabins are between Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg and Sevierville. We are 28 years family owned and operated. Dad's the owner. Sister is my right-hand man. We are his succession plan. And we're so happy that our family business has a succession plan so that we can continue to stay family owned and operated for the next, 28 years, hopefully. We've seen a lot of the Smoky Mountains was pretty famous for just the amount of cabin rental companies and the amount of them being family owned and operated. And up until the past couple of years, it's been that way for generations, and a lot of companies sold, which was good for them. They didn't have succession plans, and I'm happy that the owners of these cabins have somewhere to be. And it's but yeah, we love being family owned and operated. We're going to be this way for a while, and we're teaming up with the others like Tom Goodwood over at Mountain Laurel Chalets, and we've got Brian Spezio over at Aunt Bug's Cabin Rentals, and there's several more that we're like, hey, we're going to stay family owned and operated. We got to stick through this thing together. We've got to be pals here, less competitors and more allies, and yeah.
That's huge. In our market, just being able to work with our close group of constituents and just having that community, I think really makes a big difference. And just being able to bounce ideas off of each other, that making sure it's not just if something's going wrong or business is, slowing down, is it you or is it the market? And just, having that support is great. So that's awesome to hear.
Oh, for sure. Like if I'm having a weird homeowner experience or a weird guest experience, one of those ones where like you think you've seen it and heard it all and then it knocks you out. Yeah. I have no problem shooting a text off to somebody and being like, here's my situation. What do you think of that? This is how I want to handle it. Would you do the same? Like it's so nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I met you for the first time, I'd say probably 5 years ago, I think it was, that I was up in the mountains and trying to find some new partners up there for us to work with. And I'll never forget when I met you. I don't know why, but I guess I do know why, because clearly you've just stayed kind of present in my mind, and I'm so glad that you've circled back into my orbit now. But I remember I just, there was something about you that I thought, she's really cool. Like I want to know her more, but I never saw you for years after that. I went to your office and I met you and your dad was just incredible. And I hadn't seen you for several years, but then at the women's conference this past December, I'm like, oh my gosh, there she is. And it's just been great this last year. I think the women's conference, it seems like that's kind of what, that was the springboard that really catapulted you into the publicity of the vacation rental industry. And everybody else had the same feelings that I did, that they're like, I want to know more about her. She's really cool.
Right.
Gosh, that's so sweet. And that feeling was totally mutual, Alex. I felt the same way after having met you. You crossed my mind a number of times, but yeah, not being on LinkedIn, I was just out there swimming in the abyss of things. But yes, I'm so glad that we've come back into each other's orbit and just kind of continue to become closer friends. I love it. So grateful for it.
So you've been on quite a number of podcasts. I think you've actually done almost as many podcasts as Alex and I have recorded. You've been on a tear. Everybody wants to talk to you. But I think one of the things that I jokingly said you were my spirit animal, because you're just the things that you talk about, and you talked a lot about, especially on Amber's episode, is just leading with love and loving people and just connecting with people on kind of a level that's not the business level. It's just really about getting to know the person. And so I think that one of the things that I just adore about you is that you put yourself out there, vulnerability, every bit of it. You're not worried about what people are saying, or, maybe you are. I mean, I think we all do that to some degree, but you've made yourself very vulnerable. And one of the things that I just love is that you're very creative and you're curious and you want to know more and you want to share, and you've got all these great ideas. And so, I know we could jump all over the place, but I wanted to kind of talk to you about, you said that you went to school to be an air traffic controller. Mm-hmm. And that is a very odd transition from air traffic controller to vacation rental diva, which I'm going to call you a diva. And with the curiosity and the creativity, like I would never put somebody who's driven to numbers and the facts and what everything is on a radar screen. Like that seems so opposite of anybody that would be kind of where you are now. So I think you found your comfort zone within vacation rental. So can you tell us a little bit about how you came to deciding that maybe what you thought your path was going to be and what it is now? Like, what was that transition like, or what was your aha moment that you said, I cannot do air traffic controlling?
Air traffic controlling school was just a horrible idea.
But you don't discourage people from trying it, right?
No,
we still need those people.
I don't even think you need to go to school anymore. It was I'm so serious. So the people who graduated with my class and stuff, they kind of fell through the cracks, and it took them years to find a position within air traffic controlling. So beforehand, it was kind of just it was a street test. You could come in off the street and take this test, and
that's
if you
crazy.
did well, you trained to be.
Oh, really?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm being so serious. And so
I'll
they
never
tried
fly
out
the same again.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of came into play. And I lived just 40 minutes from the Atlanta airport. And so there was an Atlanta center, control center. And a lot of the kids I went to school with, their parents were controllers. And it takes a very certain type of personality to be a controller. And all these parents were just telling me and Mallory, we had it. We should go to school for that. There were 2 schools in the country. I think one was in Florida and one was in Georgia. So we went, because in Georgia, if you have a certain GPA, your tuition is paid for. So we went, and you make really good money controlling, so it seemed easy. But I hated it. I'm not a numbers person. We joke that I'm facts and Mallory's feelings. Mallory loves numbers. She would wake up on Saturday mornings and do math and eat cereal.
That's hilarious.
Definitely not my cup of tea.
Yeah,
not mine. But there really was no segue between air traffic controlling and the cabin rental business. So it was maybe my second to last year of schooling when my dad's cousin, who started Auntie Belham's cabin rentals, passed away and left it to him in the will. And he was balancing both his job that he'd been with in 20 something years in Georgia and going to Tennessee and making sure that everybody's taken care of and the business is running smoothly. And, you know, nobody gets lost in that transition. And he fell in love with it and decided to do that full time. So he moved up there, and my mom stayed in Georgia to keep residency so that we could have our tuition paid for. And I knew before I even graduated that I had really no interest in doing that, because it's really, really, really tough. It's really analytical. It's really black and white. And you have thousands of lives in your hands at any given moment. So I was just like, Dad, I love you. Thank you so much for putting me through school. I don't want to do this. And he was like, no problem, babe. I want you to be happy. So right out of college, I moved up to Tennessee to live with my dad. And we just jumped into the business together.
And that was a surprise, right? That the business was left to your dad in the will?
A total surprise.
That's crazy.
We found out sometime later that she had talked to a couple other family members to see if they had any interest in taking over the business should anything happen to her. She wanted to have her will set up, and they all largely said no, but she was really close with us. I think she had respected and admired my dad a lot and had full faith that at the very least he would take care of her people. Whatever happened to the business, he would take care of her people. But he fell in love with the business and started making friends within the industry pretty quick, like Sean Spezio over at Aunt Bug's Cabin Rentals. They're thick as thieves. And Scott Rice, who is now with iTrips, but I think he was with Cabin Fever at the time. They're all best buddies, and they embraced him. And pretty quickly, like, when my dad described it, it was very competitive back then, and you didn't share any secret sauces or scratch each other's back. But that's not the type of guy my dad is. That's not the type of person that I am. And so he made some friends pretty quickly and put him in place for me. But there was no segue or transition. It was just
here's a business.
And I'm so grateful for it. It's such a blessing. Like, I think my Aunt Shannon, I call her my aunt's my dad's cousin all the time. And her cemetery is actually kind of across the street from the family business. So we just go pop in and say hey to her, because we just feel like she set my family up. And I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So in your market, you mentioned that some companies have been bought in recent years, and I think that's the case probably everywhere. But how has that changed the market for the Smokies? I mean, like Vacasa and other ones, have they come into that market much?
It still kind of remains to be seen. I think we're right on the verge of feeling the effects of what those homeowners think of that and what those guests think of that. I have brought on multiple properties who they were with a mom and pop, sold to, is it okay to say who they sold to, do you think?
Yeah,
it's out in public, sure.
Yeah.
And pretty quickly communication became so difficult. She was never speaking to the same person. There was minimal communication, not a whole lot of transparency, a lot of new charges showing up on their statements. And it was a very difficult transition. And she just thought, I think I deserve a little bit better than this. I know I had better. Now I have this. Surely there's got to be better out there. And she did a little research to find out who'd been around a while, who has the decent Google reviews. And she had a conversation with multiple other companies, which I always encourage. If I'm speaking to a potential homeowner, I always encourage them to do their due diligence and speak to other companies and make sure they find the right fit for them. Because ultimately what I care about, like, I'm playing a long game. I want happy homeowners who stay in the industry and they don't just sell and leave. I want the happy homeowners to remain happy. So I want them finding the best company for them. And I actually have a checklist of things that when they're doing their due diligence, they should ask other cabin rental companies these things so that they know, like, if you're paying monthly maintenance fees, are you also paying trip charges? And what is your trip charge? And things like that, to make sure that they're well taken care of, so that, like, maybe a company's offering 85-15 split, but when at the end of the month, when you get that statement and you have all these charges, what percentage are you actually paying out?
Yeah, you want to know what the gross revenue is at the end of the day, or the net revenue is at the end of the day that you're going to get. That's a great point.
So I'm really trying to educate homeowners as much as I'm trying to start the education process along with you guys, if we are not Airbnb, trying to educate homeowners to make sure they're taking care of themselves. And then two, like maybe they don't go with me, maybe they go with a higher percentage, but if they ever get unhappy down the line, they're going to remember my conversation. They're going to remember how much I helped them out and kind of have perspective on my commission split and minimal fees at the end of the month. So yeah, I've just onboarded them, probably going into the summer, and I'll be totally vulnerable about this as well. I was so excited to swoop in, make them so happy, get them bookings. Everything is awesome. And I have really struggled with these properties. They're just a little further out than all the others. I've actually made a post about it.
Was that the one that we talked about on LinkedIn that was out in the middle of nowhere? And we talked about like doing parking at events or whatever we could get for that.
Yes. Yeah. Like try to get them some free coffees in town or something like that. Yeah, exactly. And it got a little bit better. We just staged photos a little differently. I took a lot of notes from people and applied that towards that property, and it did help. We got a flurry of bookings immediately. So good job, everybody. But it has since plateaued, and just not getting good feedback. So I am not the superhero I was hoping to be with that, but they have my cell phone number.
Right.
We go back and forth. I'm accessible. They fully trust us. They don't have to worry about their statements at the end of the month. So I know she's happy, and she'll be patient with me. And then, I might have to have the conversation with her. Like, I really thought I could do better. You guys deserve better. You deserve to make more money. I want to help you find a property management company who maybe has other properties out in that area.
Right. To leverage against. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't heard from anybody with fee trips, which I think is good. I think that's a good sign. I'm happy for them. But like Miriam over at Jackson Mountain Home, like they're holding it down. I don't think they really skipped a beat with being like mom and pop actors within the industry. But that change remains to be seen. And it's more so what I'm struggling with is are this the people who bought properties, they live in California, New York, or even overseas, and they have their properties on Airbnb.
Right.
And I'm the people I liked, like I had good conversations with them, and I'm genuinely sad they didn't stay on my program. I kept their names and numbers, and I've been following up with them to just see how they're doing. And they're kind of getting a little panicky just to break even. And so I'm making sure that they're taken care of, and maybe I can get them over to my program eventually, just so that they don't have to worry about anything anymore. It could be passive income if they wanted it to be. But
I think you and Mallory were mentioned in it was a Wall Street Journal article this summer, or it was some Bloomberg.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a great article.
And there's so many, I think the topic of that was all these homeowners that are coming in as an investment homeowners from across the country that are looking at this as a passive income stream. And that's what a lot of the new Airbnb media is trying to show vacation rentals is. Clearly are realizing that that's not the case. And I think, to your point, next year is going to be interesting for a lot of them. If, hopefully we don't see a severe downturn or a severe change in demand for vacation rentals. But I think overall, if they were used to 2021, 2022 rates, there might not be getting quite that much. And if they're really close on how much that they are able to need to, get from that rental property to be able to maintain their mortgage, this could be a downfall for the area.
Yeah, I'm like a little bit worried about that, but we're such a destination market. And then there's so many of us like who are ready to, I will buy an investment property if prices go down. I think my sister will. I know a lot of the real estate agents are as well, which is a little self-serving, but I know they're ready to swoop in and buy theirs. And then I have like a whole pipeline of people who have been like, hey, keep your ear to the ground when the prices go down, like holler, let me know, I'm going to buy and put it on your program. So I have a whole pipeline of people who are ready to swoop in. So I'm not too worried about how that will change things for us, but I do feel bad for those people who didn't do enough research, Annie, right? Didn't do enough.
And I love Lauren. We've had lots of conversations on LinkedIn with people about, just about that, about people buying in kind of at the height of the market and being I don't want to say led astray, but they're not given good data to make good decisions on. And so then it becomes the problem of the property manager to sort of navigate those conversations that can be pretty uncomfortable, because again, people are buying at the height of the market. And had you bought at the height of the market and we were seeing 2021 occupancy, or demand, that would be a completely different conversation to have. So I'm curious, Ben, my husband's family is all from South Carolina, right, just across the mountains into South Carolina. And so they come to Gatlinburg several times a year. I've been a half a dozen times with the family, and just over the years, just watching it grow. And I know that I actually worked with Ant Bugs, and I worked with Eagle. I think it's Eagle Properties. It's Eagle Ridge, and there's something else. It's like Zach something is the guy that I work with, and I can't remember his last name. But we had them, and there was one other group that was in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge area, and just kind of seeing their inventory like explode. I mean, literally, like some of them were doubling, and it wasn't that where they were buying companies. It was just a matter of like all this inventory was coming their way, but there were so many new homes being built in the market. So you guys are one of the markets that saw tremendous growth of like new build. So how do you think that that's affected how you guys are approaching, one, you said that you're working with other managers in the region, which is great, because a lot of markets are still very siloed. Everybody wants to hide their data and not talk, but you're talking to others. And I think that with that kind of growth, I mean, it's not sustainable to think that they can continue to grow at that pace, because the demand is not going to continue to grow at that rate. So how have you guys approached it and thought, for next year, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to add more marketing, or are you going to add more channels? Like, what are you going to do to kind of diversify how you bring in reservations?
We're going to add more channels. We will be working with Whimstay before too long, and I'd really like to work with Hopper, but we've hit some roadblocks with that. And then that'll put us at 4: Vrbo, Airbnb, Hopper, Whimstay. Oh, 5, SmokyMountains.com. They do great for us. We're not actually looking to scale.
Okay.
So I just like, I'm not looking I don't know, like, these are the things I'm asking myself all the time. What is our game plan for the next year? And really, me and my sister are kind of on the same page, and I think my dad is there too. Just like refine our systems and processes, just continue to create the best culture within the business, continue to take our customer service next level, so that the guest loyalty is there, the homeowner loyalty is there. They don't even want to consider selling. We're like at 120 properties right now. We're actually going to shave off a few. And we would always just cap it at 150 to keep quality control and operations and relationships tight and stuff. But like, I feel like there was a note that I took, and Annie, I think it was your interview with Steve, I think. And I just remember taking this note because at a point I was worried about scaling when we were hemorrhaging cabins to sales, and the people were doing Airbnb. And I was like, oh my God, how are we going to keep up when all these companies are buying and getting huge? And you guys were like, actually, like, I can't remember how you put it, but like, you can make more money with this properties. Yeah. And I never forgot that. And I remember coming into work, and Mallory and Dad were like, we just listened to Alex and Annie's podcast and they took the same note, that same line. And so we were like, okay, we'll buckle down. We will kind of control our spending, and we'll just work on being the best property management company in the Smokies, whatever that needs to mean. But we're not too worried about scaling right now. I was having a good conversation with Aunt Bugs and Scott Rice and my sister over dinner in Vegas one night. We're like, I do see it becoming a concern at one point, because these are just, I'm spitballing here. Like, this is a market where a lot of people who have stayed with us for years are like, I want to retire here. So we're going to buy a property and we're going to come retire here. A lot of people say that. So I'm just like, oh my God, is that going to be like
where are all the guests going to come from?
They retire, all these cabins are off the market. And then what if they become, not in my backyard people all of a sudden? So like, that's something I'm a little concerned about. So I'm like, okay, so when do we start scaling to,
Yeah. And I think it's a really good point. And I think it's more of not necessarily scaling in the fact that you want to grow by tons and tons more inventory, but I think really what the loop there is, I mean, people that want to come down, they want to retire in Gatlinburg. We're seeing the same thing in Myrtle Beach, that a lot of our guests have ended up moving to the beach. And the same concerns that you said, that some of them, when they get here, they become that neighbor that wants to be actively involved in city council and change things so that there's no tourism. And you have to remind them that's the reason they moved here is because of people like them, that, we can have those great restaurants because we have to be able to keep them happy. But you have to remind people of that. But the other thing is, I think, we haven't seen, that hasn't hurt our reservations necessarily, because we have such, or when I say we, I'm speaking condo world, bringing more guests into the fold and just getting more new guests. I think that's really the secret sauce there. I think for you guys, that's like, focusing on improving, making little tweaks to operations and culture. That's huge. I mean, that solidifies and protects you. And then just opening up to make sure that you've got a new way to get more new guests that are continuously coming in, feeding into the funnel.
Yes.
But that's a good position to be in. And I think you guys can very well do both of those initiatives.
I think so. And like, just on a very simple level, Mallory and I are going to we're just going to keep cranking out videos. And we're going to just stay more present on TikTok to start like attracting Gen Z, who's the next wave of bookers. And like, we see that being our future of just getting out ahead of people on a creative level. We have our social media with our marketing company, and it's a little vanilla in my opinion, but it converts. I've had meetings with them where I try to push creativity and the creativity does not convert. They've proven it to me. So I'm like,
oh, really? Wow.
Y'all just keep doing you. No. And, but they were like TikTok. They've pushed us to just kind of do TikTok in our very own way, and went to an awesome class with Marco and John and Conrad. And they kind of taught us a little bit about Gen Z and TikTok. And I'm like, okay, me and Mallory are actually onto something here. And the goofier, the weirder, the sillier, the more fun, the better. And like, just learn that Gen Z, they don't like traditional advertising and branding. And so like, we don't have to, it doesn't have to be a sales pitch or anything like that. It could just be a hilarious video that maybe they remember down the line and they were like, oh, what was that? And and they remember us or something. So that's simple, but that's how we're going to get out ahead of millennials and Gen Z and stuff, and just have fun with it.
And I was on a panel in Vegas, and they asked about TikTok and if that was something that any of us used. And previously in my role at Condo World, we had not gotten into TikTok, and we made that decision because if you look at the demographics age-wise, you have to be 25 to rent a Condo World accommodation. So most of and is that the same for you guys too? I would think that you guys,
the vast majority are 21. There are a few on the program that are either really big or really nice, and we do 25.
That's good then. I think that'll help you there for sure. But my takeaway was, video is everything for sure, and that should be everybody's focus for 2023 and beyond. But taking that same approach of TikTok and using that kind of video within Instagram and Facebook, because let's be honest, I mean, people aren't stopping to look at a carousel of images anymore like they used to. On Facebook, it's just boring because we're used to, whether you use TikTok or not, we're used to that sort of stimulation, and that's what catches people's eye. So I'm really want to hear how this goes for you guys actually using that content on the platform. But you'll have to keep us updated on that, because I think you could be a great first success story, because I don't think there's not a whole lot in our industry that are doing it or doing it well and seeing a huge benefit yet.
I'm going to kind of document how that process goes so that I can just have some sort of like outside awareness of it, not just be caught up in the middle of doing it. Like, I want to document it. And I'll share that insight as I go along, and just kind of, maybe there was a very popular video and a not so popular video, and just trying to break down why. And then share that as well.
Bubba the Bear, he's like everything. I love him. And I like know that at some point you're going to have this whole other tier where Beauregard the bear, you and I had this conversation about the different bears, like what the name, and like Beauregard spoke to this like upper class, upper crust type of rentals. And so I think like, because you get out there, and like you said, your curiosity and your creativity just kind of oozes out of you like every day. Like I know you're going to do some amazing stuff with it. I have laughed my butt off every time that I've watched your videos. They are just so entertaining and to the point that like, that's what makes people engage. They want quick, fun. And if you look at like, you think about Super Bowl commercials, the ones that resonate with people are the ones that either so pull at your heartstrings and make you cry, or they're the ones that make you laugh for days.
Right.
And like you've got this path of laughing that you just got everybody laughing. And I know I shared one of yours out, and it was just like, it was shared like left and right, and everybody was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I think what you did, you hit on something. Everybody was looking for some new way to speak to the guest, and you found something that was easily done, quick, got the message across, and that that guests, whether they were 21 or 81, they were going to watch it and they were going to be entertained by it. So I applaud you for stepping out there.
Lauren, why don't you tell us a little bit about that video, because not everybody's seen it.
Okay. So it's our checkout video. And so I'd already made a check-in video that was pretty much a hit, and our guests were loving it. And so it was like maybe 50 seconds long. And it was just reminding people that like, as much as we try to be perfect, we're not going to be perfect. Things might go wrong at your cabin. That's totally okay. We are here for you. Let us know. We'll come get it taken care of so that you can have the best vacation ever. Just getting ahead of the guests to kind of set ourselves apart from Airbnb. We are professional. We are here to take care of you. You're not out on your own when you're there. And then to prevent them from just leaving the negative feedback in a review. And if we can get in front of our guests, like literally meet them and take care of them, even if they had a problem, I think we have the chance to turn them into a repeat guest more than if they just had an okay time,
right.
Or a good time and never came across us. Like, I know we can impress them. So I had already made the check-in video, and it was just me talking to the camera, being goofy a little bit. So I knew I needed to make a checkout video. And so I'd already bought the bear suit for other videos that I have in the pipeline that I can't wait to make.
For other reasons.
For other reasons.
Bear suit. Never know when you're going to need it.
Me and Mallory and the reservations team, we were just spitballing the possibilities of what this checkout video could be like. And Mallory got on a roll. And like, so when I'm talking about, like, you might have seen me rummaging through your trash or, scurrying my cubs to and fro, that's all Mallory. And we were just laughing and having a great time. And she was like, let's go shoot this checkout video now. We had a few hours left on our shift. Let's go shoot it right now. And she was like, and you should wear your bear suit. And I was like, oh my God, that's a fantastic idea. And so I'm just at a cabin going through the checkout list in a bear suit with a cute little song in the background. And I tried to make it funny wherever I could. I mean, the bear suit was funny enough, and it has been a total hit with our guests. They absolutely love it. And then when I shared it on LinkedIn just went wild, which has been so encouraging to know that I need to make more like that. But the purpose of it was like, you hear a lot of people complaining, especially with Airbnb, about the cleaning lists and all the crazy stuff that they have to do with the cleaning list. I don't have a cleaning list. It's more of like a cabin preservation list. It's like, change the thermostat, just put the trash in a bear-proof container, put the lid back on top of the hot tub. Please don't leave stinky dishes in the sink. And so like, I really wanted to show and illustrate, this is not a cleaning list. It's very simple. It takes no time at all. So I wanted to act it out, and doing it in a goofy bear suit keeps their attention.
Oh, definitely.
It was great.
No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head for sure.
And then too, like my marketing company is like, hey, not everybody likes to read their content.
Right. Exactly.
More and more people like to listen to it or watch it. So I'm like, oh, I'm more than happy to run with that. I've always had a camera growing up, and I always made goofy videos. There's still a YouTube account out there somewhere that is horrifying, I'm sure. But I've always made videos. And so we're just having a blast. And Mallory and I actually sat down with a couple espresso martinis one night at Vegas before the Sin City soiree with Marriott and probably came up with 15 more video ideas that we're so excited to share with everybody. And there will be a mix of like, our guests see this or our guests have access to this, and this is just property management content.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. A lot of really good ideas come over a couple of espresso martinis. I do know that.
Yes.
Annie and I can testify to that for sure.
Yeah. It's a 2-drink minimum for good ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not maximum, minimum.
Minimum.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now,
So
Lauren,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to know more about, because I think you've made such a focus, or it seems like you have, on culture within your company, and just kind of what your personal journey has been to that point, and layering in also, I know you went to Matt Landau's Keystone Retreats, and I'm sure you learned a lot from that. But tell us a little bit about culture, as I know that was a big topic of conversation at that retreat. But tell us a little bit about what's going on that side of the business.
Gosh, I think we have something pretty special going on. So a lot of our people, our employees, have been with Auntie Belham since my dad's cousin owned it, since she started it. So we have
Oh, wow.
a couple of people who have been there for like 20 years, 15 years, 10 years,
Wow.
long time. But beyond that, we all of us managers are pretty much on the same page of this. And this goes in pretty much all departments. It's big time for reservations, but also maintenance and inspectors and stuff. We're not necessarily hiring based on experience. We're hiring based on, this is so goofy, vibes. Like, does this person get our humor?
Yeah.
Do we enjoy spending time with them?
Yeah.
Are they goofy? Are we going to have to kind of mind our P's and Q's around them? Like, do we click? Are they Auntie Belham? So like when we have a new hire and after some time has gone by and me and the managers are talking, like, they're a fit when they're like, they are so Auntie Belhams.
Yeah.
So
that's huge.
We hire based on who we feel like we could love and have a genuine friendship with and be family with, because then we can train them on to do anything,
Right.
That's the awesome thing about our industry is, and this is, I'm not talking about marketing because that's a whole nother animal, but like, you could be trained to do the job and you can do the job well.
Right.
It's so hands-on and just, conversational. And so we hire based on the person, and we know we can train them. And so from the baseline, we're creating culture. And then a lot of the girls in the reservations department are friends outside of work and hang out. So that's awesome. They got their own thing going on, but so we've always had a naturally pretty good culture, but like this year we have really just tried to expand on that. And so like we'll do fun Fridays where I'll just bring in stuff for smoothies or some fruit tray or just whatever the girls are feeling. We'll bring in something for Fridays just to snack on and have a good day. Or we'll do, like we did, mocktail Mondays, which I think I love that kick out of, where we just brought in like seltzer waters and juices and fruits and stuff and made up these fancy mocktails. And so we just try to have more fun. One of the girls the other day, it was 10 days from Halloween, and she came in fully dressed as a witch. And I was like, yes, I support this. Everybody,
whatever
you want. Let's just have fun here. And they all know if they have a good idea, pitch it. And you could either come to me or you can come to your manager, or I set up suggestion boxes in the reservations department and the maintenance department. If they feel like being anonymous, or maybe they have to just vent something, or I'm the only person who has access to the boxes. They know it's me reading it, but that's helped to keep them involved with creating the culture and reinforcing positivity and just making things better. They're the eyes and ears of the reservations department. They're picking up on patterns. They know what's going to work. I want their feedback into making us the best company possible. So it's total open door policy. And once you kind of get that momentum going, it just feeds off of itself. And it's been an awesome, fun, hilarious year for all of us.
Yeah, I love that.
And then next I'm going to move on to the maintenance department, and just kind of, that's a more complicated department to kind of nail down a culture on, because they're so out in the field and they're so busy and they just want to get their work done,
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
that's a really good point.
They're not spending 8-10 hours together in an office. So I don't know that, but I'm trying to figure out how to breed, I don't know, more culture in the maintenance department next. I don't know what that means for me yet, because to this day, and I shared this on LinkedIn, I put a suggestion box in the maintenance department, and like basically the only feedback I've gotten so far is more styrofoam cups. Which is just like, okay, we must be
interesting.
doing all right. But sorry, guys, I'm not getting you
I'm not
styrofoam cups. Like,
right.
that is not green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the maintenance guys are necessarily going to be, your tree hugging green type
Yeah.
guys, but
Yeah.
there's probably, I don't know. I think of all the hotels and resorts and management companies I worked for. The maintenance guys probably, because they are out there by themselves, they're probably the most create, like some of the funnest people. If you can get them all together, I bet you could have so much fun with them if you kind of get them engaged. But I did want to ask, because I know that you guys did like a pumpkin carving contest.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you? Who
Yeah.
won?
Oh my God, that's a great question. I love
Oh,
that you asked that. I was like saving that for when I went into the office today to ask. It'll be my first day back since firma. I was saving that to go in. So they could tell me in person so I could see all the pumpkins, and heck, I wanted to vote myself, and maybe my penny will be the defining difference, but I don't know. I would be dang shocked if it was not Dolly Parton though.
yeah. I can only imagine.
Some super cute. There were some super cute ones, and I love that you're fostering a culture. And I think, I just personally recently went through a job hunt and used Steve Trover at Better Talent, and they reached out to me about the position, and I initially was like, no, and they're like, no, you're perfect for it. Like, we've done all the research, like, you're perfect for this. Like, we've done your predictive index, we know your personality, like, you're perfect for this.
Cool.
And I really wasn't sure about it, and then I finally did, and it turned out it was absolutely perfect. So I got the role, and I'm super excited about it. But that was one of the things that I think that companies are going towards, is really understanding it's not so much about the skill set, it's really about your the personal attributes that you bring to the team, and are they going to mesh well with everybody else? Because you can have somebody who's just darn the smartest person in the room, but if their personality doesn't get across, they either can't lead, or they're not going to be able to be a good contributor to any of the processes that you're trying to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Good point.
One of our favorite lines, you can teach skill, but you can't teach will. And I think that's exactly like what you were just talking about, Lauren. But yeah, I think that's a great way. That's a great way to look at it. I mean, we spend so much of our time at work. I mean, the majority of our lives are spent at work. So you want to be around people that you enjoy, I mean, that's just kind of like a simple no brainer, but at the same time, I think it gets a lot of companies overlook it. They're looking at the resume and do they check these boxes, but how much experience do they have? I think, as far as, your marketing, or not marketing, your reservations and your frontline staff, you can teach them those things. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I think that's a great point.
Yeah. That's my family. Like, I tell them, especially our reservations manager, Kathy, God, I love her so much. At the end of the shift, every day, it's a big hug. I love you. It's like telling my mom bye at the end of the day, and when anybody goes on vacation, we miss them, and we're so excited to have them back. That's our family.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So what do you, we're getting sort of close to end. And I think Alex and I say this all the time, but I really feel like you and your personality and our personalities, we could talk forever. So we need to plan like a girls' weekend to come up to Gatlinburg and hang out, and maybe we'll do Alex and Annie live from Auntie Belham's cabin.
That would be amazing.
What do you see as, we talked off camera about, your year. It was very pivotal. Can't even speak this morning. You getting out there and really just finding your groove. And one of the things that both Alex and I experienced, very parallel to each other, is that the more we put ourselves out there, the more opportunity that came to us. Yeah. And they were those great opportunities that were the right opportunities at the right time to get us to the next level, kind of those type of things. And so we saw you experience that, and we're so proud of you and so grateful to have crossed paths with you. And as you said earlier, just to be in each other's orbit. What do you think was maybe your biggest accomplishment for this year? And then moving into 2023, what are you looking most forward to, not only for Auntie Belham's, but for Lauren personally?
Oh,
big question.
Yeah. I was gonna say last year, this year, and you.
I want all of it.
Greatest accomplishment, maybe that bear video.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love it.
I've just learned so much about our own community from the feedback I got from that, and the feedback I'm getting from the guests, and that we're on to something here. We need to keep making more videos, which was reinforced by that TikTok session that we went to. So I feel like I've had a lot this year. or getting invited to the Keystone Retreat. God, that felt
That's
like
amazing. Yeah.
that felt like an accomplishment. Like I couldn't believe my name even got thrown out there for that. And I
Can
got
you
to
tell us a little bit about that too? I'm curious more about what that experience was, because I know it from the feedback I've heard from people, it like changed their lives.
Yeah.
Alex had serious FOMO, so we got to get
Yeah,
on
I know.
next
I was
year.
supposed to go and I couldn't. And oh my gosh, I'm glad I didn't though, because when I got back from Darm, that was the one I was going to go to, I had COVID, so I would have felt terrible if I was the super spreader at that thing.
Oh no. Gosh, that's a big thing to unpack, Alex. Honestly.
Yeah.
It was well, first off, it was the first time property managers are getting together for an event to discuss the industry and our own markets and ourselves personally without vendors. So it was all so organic and so fruitful because nothing was a sales pitch. And no offense to anybody, there were no angles. It wasn't like, here's how you do this, but through us,
Right. Exactly.
There were no vendors. So it was just Matt really did his best to try and keep everybody like all unique markets so that we didn't feel like competitors, so that we could share secret sauce or feel good about sharing. Like we all had to sign an NDA sharing anything and knowing that it wouldn't leave there. And it was a true community that was built. I teared up so many times, but I'm a huge softie. Like Mike with Casago, I love him. I love him so much. Like, we just clicked like this and it was just, that's so hard to explain. It was just magical, and we learned from each other. We taught each other things. We pushed each other. So like I said, I wanted to be more involved with my community, and I got a lot of push on that. What does that mean? Who is your community? What are your plans even? Like, what could you do? What are you doing? What haven't you done? Just pushing each other to be better for the long term, for the history, for the future of our industry. Like nothing was selfish. And like I said, everything was just so organic, and we all feel a part of something big. And we know, like, Verma was really special this year. Like the energy was special. The people were excited. It was something to behold. But like,
I agree.
We know that if we want to continue pushing for progress within the industry, it can't just be events just like that.
Right.
Something bigger pushing us forward for our own best interests as property managers. And maybe that's all over the place. The thing was all over the place in a very, very good way. But Matt did great. Steve did great. I was so grateful for the chance to meet both of them.
I love it. I mean, I think it really plays into your year that you've had. And I'm sure going into that, you were probably a little bit like, I don't know exactly what I'm going to get into. Hopefully this goes well, but
not at all.
Scary because no one knew who was going to be at your cohort. Right.
Nope.
So, and I remember, that would have been, if I had been able to make it, that was something I was kind of concerned about. It was like, who am I going to be around for the next 5 days? But I think they did an incredible job. I literally, the feedback I've heard from everybody was that it was game changing for them. So very glad that you went and did that.
Oh, me too. And that was, there was like no context for that. You didn't know who, you knew where, and you knew what you would be fed, and you didn't know anything else. But I've just been saying yes this year. Like any opportunity that comes my way, even if it's a demo with a vendor company that I might not plan on using, I say yes to it so I can get to know that person.
Learn. Yeah.
And maybe I can recommend them down the line, but and then I can get to meet them at the events and stuff. But I've just been saying yes, and that was a big part of it. And I trust Matt wholeheartedly, Matt and Steve wholeheartedly. Like anywhere they go, I will follow them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. They're definitely great. They're great leaders for our industry. And I think that they're always trying to be a little like a step ahead of everybody to help guide and like break that doorway down for everybody to step into it. But I've gotten to know Matt just through the Homeowners thing, and I knew of him but didn't know him. And I think and Steve the same way, just two very caring, compassionate, And to me, that just speaks to me. Whenever you lead with your heart, like it just speaks to me. So your leading with love thing is just, it's everything to me. I love it so much.
Yeah, very thoughtful, I think, is just kind of the tone of it, you know.
Yeah.
Lead with their hearts. I do want to circle back to the second part of your question. I don't know if we're running out of time or not. What's my plan?
No, we're good. Yeah, sorry, we got you. That's our fault. We got you derailed.
No, gosh, it's like we could talk for days. But so I feel like we've done a good job with kind of setting up a culture that can continue to build on itself with or without my active presence. I feel good about that. I will always continue to make videos, but like for 2023, I'm putting this out there because I don't yet know what it means for me. I don't yet have my path carved out, and I'm always open for feedback, and I might be reaching out for some guidance on this, but like I do need to get more involved with my community. I want to start going to city council meetings. I need to start joining associations and stuff. I need to start like it was at Tiffany Edwards, is that the okay, so she did like a bit on lobbying, and I took so many notes from that, and that's some heavy hitting stuff, but I got some seeds for growth. And basically, like if anything strange were to come into my market, which like the Smoky Mountain market feels invincible, like when you hear all these other markets going through tough times with regulations and stuff, my market feels invincible because the town was literally built on tourism almost 100 years ago, for everything revolving on that. But there's no way that can be the case. And so I don't want to get into a position of reacting. I'd rather be in a position of informing. And I think that starts now. And so I just need to be more present within the community, and even just forming connections with like mom and pop pizza shops and ice cream shops, and anybody who's mom and pop in town, just starting conversations with them, seeing what we can get them involved in, like making sure they understand the importance of professionally managed cabin rentals versus Airbnb. And just if anything weird starts to swirl within the industry, all the mom and pop we're together, we're a community, we're helping each other out. Just going to the city council meetings, keeping my ears to the ground. I'm trying to get more involved with associations, which like we have to get past. I've reached out to some people, but we have to get past like October here, which is just a nutty time here. And once we do that, I hope I can start forming the right connections. But I don't know what that means for me yet, but I need to get more involved with the market proper, the industry, and maybe do more informing than reacting. And
I think just having that as your goal, you're going to succeed at that for sure. Because you're extremely personable, people will welcome your presence there. But I know in your area, you've got Gatlinburg Chamber of Commerce and CVB, and Pigeon Forge has its own as well, right? And that's I've had these conversations offline too. It's like that's definitely where I started my initiation to just become more well known in the area and build those relationships. And I would imagine in your area that would be a good start for you there. I mean, that's where a lot of decisions are made, and where you'll connect with businesses in one kind of setting or more consistent setting across different verticals in your area. And there's still a lot of hotels involved with those associations. So like we need a big voice for property management companies, and a big friendly voice who can see the silver lining in anything. And I don't see it. We're apples and oranges. I don't see us as anybody who needs to fight, and just I hope to do a good job with it. So I'll probably be picking your brain a lot, honestly, Alex. No, absolutely. Anytime. But I think you can own the voice of that, the industry in your area. If you can do that, that will be huge payoff for you personally, and then also for the business and just your area. So we wish you a lot of luck on that. So we're about at time. So I think we'll have to do a part 2, maybe later or earlier in 2023. Get an update on TikTok. Update on your Civic involvement, and just see how the rest of the year is going. But thank you so much for coming on today, Lauren. We truly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm always happy to see y'all smiling faces. You guys are just the best.
Thank you
so much. And congratulations on your new roles. I'm like so pumped for you guys. true
Thank
cheering
you.
section.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
course.
It's
Yeah,
crazy
we're
how the
really
world just
excited.
kind of all like just provides at the same time, but we're really excited. But Lauren,
Yeah.
you're going to do amazing things, and I know that Alex and I both are cheering you on from
Absolutely.
a little distance. We hope to get to see you soon. I do want to get my husband up to get a good long weekend in the mountains, and we'll for sure be calling you for that. But if anybody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Lauren, LAUREN at auntieBelhams.com. It's AUNTIEBELHAMS.com. Or Lauren Madewell on LinkedIn. And then if I need to give you my cell phone, that way I'll give you my cell phone that way. Always down to connect. I am here for everybody. I want connections, community. Yeah.
Well, we'll write that on the back of a bathroom door in some bar.
Oh, excellent.
Trying to meet new friends.
Yeah. You're open to the universe.
We'll include your email and also a link to your LinkedIn profile in the show notes. And if anybody's not watching, or if you're just listening, go over to YouTube to watch, because you'll get to see Lauren's Halloween costume that she had on at the beginning of the show. But thank you so much again, Lauren. And thank you everybody for listening. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us a review or send us a message. You can go to alexanddannypodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. And until next time, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.